Good evening and welcome to the Gold Goats and Guns Hour here on YouTube and Periscope. My name is Tom Luongo. I hope you all are having a great Friday night. Let's see if the chat is actually going to work via Restream. Let's see. Looks like those are working. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Sorry about that. Just playing around with some different versions of the chat software. So we've been playing with that for a while now, or fighting it, as the case may be. I was hoping that maybe that Restream's chat service would work properly now under Periscope, but it still doesn't look like it's working properly. So whatever. We'll go along with it. Heck, I don't even think it's working properly. Nope, there it is. All right, it's all coming through YouTube finally. Alrighty then, let's get on to the show, right? Because I didn't even set up a title for tonight. I'm a little disorganized. All right, let's do this. All right, let's do this. In the immortal words of Leroy Jenkins, y'all got coffee? Y'all layered in for the evening? Just let's talk about this. All right, so Brexit. Let's talk about this. Brexit. I'm at that point with Brexit, to be honest with you. Wrote a short thing this afternoon about it. Wrote something for Strategic Culture. It's in the editorial now. The more I look at this, the more I'm completely confused. I think the easiest way to describe what's going on with Brexit is to say that I don't think anybody has a clue at this point as to what's going on. And therefore, the only one who truly has a handle on what's happening with Brexit, I think, is Theresa May. Coffee, beer, whiskey, you name it, whatever. I got coffee for doing this. I don't drink while I'm live streaming anymore. The results were usually tragic. So, yeah, truthfully, at this point, Brexit is completely FUBAR. It's a good way of putting it. You know how I felt about this. I felt for most of this that Theresa May was really a stalking horse of the EU, and her job was to deliver a non-Brexit Brexit. That was her job. But I'm not completely sure that that's where her head is right now. I know Nigel Farage is freaking out. I know some people are really worried about this, but part of me really feels like May is playing a deeper game here. And I may be wrong about this, but it just feels to me at this point like May is realizing, excuse me, I'm taking off my socks because it's way too warm in my room. It was actually warm today for the first time in 4 days here. Finally let the stove go out. So tomorrow it'll be cold again. It's just, one day the trees are blooming and it's 80 degrees. The next day it's 50 and all the blooms fall off the trees. Hey, welcome to the transition state between global warming and global cooling. But there's so many angles to talk about Brexit here. But I really do believe that May be really looking at this situation going, how do I get out of this and not destroy the British Parliament, not destroy the Tory party, not destroy everything? Because that's the game. That's the stakes at this point. And I really do believe that at one point during all of this, that she was going to try and create a non-Brexit Brexit that would satisfy everybody. Kind of just right. It's not too hard, not too soft, just right. I think that's what she was trying to do. And it could just be that she's incompetent as opposed to being complicit. And if she was incompetent, right, and not complicit in the EU's game to undermine Brexit, if she was incompetent, then the situation is much better than it would be had she been complicit. I know I'm reading all your comments as you go by, guys, and I'm going to address them kind of obliquely as we go along. I may not mention you by name, but I'm kind of taking all this stuff in. So she's got a lot of conflicting problems now, not the least of which is the survival of the Tory party. The fact that if the EU gets its way, it's the end of the United Kingdom as we know it. But at the same time, if we deliver a hard Brexit, then it's the end of the United Kingdom as we know it, because Scotland will want to leave. But, it's funny. The Scots keep talking about this stuff, but the Scottish National Party does not speak for all of Scotland. But they act like they do. Certainly Nicola Sturgeon certainly thinks she does, but she doesn't. And so, when I look at the situation at this point, I don't think a Norway solution, Stoyanovich is asking, I don't think a Norway solution is possible at this point. I think that's what Jeremy Corbyn wants. I think that's what a lot of people would settle on, but there's no option for that right now because the EU is not going to negotiate because they really do think that they can still win. And Thordum tells me that he thinks that she will deliver a Brexit because deep down the British deep state knows the EU is collapsing fast and exiting now will be much better in the future. I don't believe that. I disagree with you there. I don't think the British deep state cares one way or the other about this. I think they're complicit in the whole European Union integration. Never let a crisis go to waste. Crisis is an opportunity. They really do believe that they're going to be able to implode the European Union financially and come out the other side politically with a union intact. I really do believe that. Right, the SNP only has around 30% or 35% support in Scotland. And so I was watching Parliament the other day when the no confidence vote came down the pike and everybody stood up and they all ran their talking points. And it was almost like, and May was just kind of looking at them like, no Corbyn, we're not going to take no deal off the table. No Scotland, the SNP does not speak for all of Scotland, so you're not going to get a second referendum. Yada, yada, yada. Not saying that the Scots shouldn't go for a second referendum and not saying that the Scots shouldn't be their own country. Don't take that statement on my part the wrong way. I would prefer to see Scotland free of the free of Westminster and free of London. So you could argue, and I'm watching, like I said, I'm watching the chat go by. You could argue that May now feels like the EU has put her in a position that's politically untenable, that's destroyed her career, and it's now trying to destroy her party and her country, and that maybe when backed into a corner, she's just going to fold her arms and say, no, all y'all can go twist in the wind. On March 29th, we leave. What are you going to do about it? I said yesterday on my short news, I said, the EU doesn't know when to shut up. They're like Emperor Palpatine in Return of the Jedi, right? Whenever they're winning, they gloat. They keep talking. They stop the process, and they remind everybody just how evil and vile they are. Everybody's got their minds, their eyes focused on Theresa May and the shit show between her and Corbyn and Labour and the Tories and her cabinet defections and everything else. And then Donald Tusk comes out and says, you know what the only solution to this problem is, don't you? Like, shut the fuck up, douchebag. If you actually wanted to win, you would not remind everybody that you're the biggest Polish douchebag on the planet. When you look up Polish douchebag, in the dictionary on Wikipedia is a picture of Donald Tusk. It's like, it's like French lush. You get a picture of Juncker. So nobody in Britain wants Corbyn to come to power. Nobody in Europe wants them to leave without a deal. Remember, go look at the stock markets. I keep making this point to my subscribers on the biweekly market reports. Go look at the stock markets. Go look at the relative performance of the Dow, the FTSE, the DAX, the French CAC 50, and the rest of them. And you'll see that the markets are setting up for a hard Brexit. Slowly but surely, They're coming to the realization that these people will not be able to deliver on their promises to the markets at this point. And their promise to the market is that the European Union will win. The euro will remain relatively strong because there will be no removal of the great sucking sound that is capital from Britain flowing across the channel into Europe and propping up the euro. But the way the euro's been trading in the last couple of days, nope. Not trading like it wants. It's not trading like it wants to roll over and die, but it doesn't want to rally on this news either. It's not like anybody in the know knows. No one's placing bets here against the trend. I don't see any of that stuff happening. I don't see, big accumulation on the euro at $1.13. And so, I just see a range-bound trade and people don't know what to do. But I keep seeing the Dow going up. I keep seeing the Dow breaking through technical resistance levels. Meanwhile, the FTSE and the DAX don't do anything. Interesting. France is ordered to prep for a hard Brexit. Got news for you. So is most of the British government. Most British government offices, come on. They already know. RB Tools. Corbyn won't ever be PM because the British elite will not ever let him become PM. It has nothing to do with the opinion polls. Tony Blair will be prime minister before Jeremy Corbyn ever is. I mean, the knives have come out against Corbyn at this point. Every time he calls for a no confidence vote that fails, it weakens him further. So she was inviting him to call for a no confidence vote against her. She was inviting him to stick his neck out and say, take no deal off the table. She was inciting all of this earlier in the week. She was smiling when he called for the vote. She was smirking through all of it because she's like, you have nothing going on. No, I never said that about Donald Trump. You missed. You're missing. RB Tools. You're missing my point completely. They will create and execute a political hatchet job on Jeremy Corbyn that makes anything done to Donald Trump at this point look like an Amish barn raising. There will be no Jeremy Corbyn prime minister in the UK. There may be a Labour PM, but there will not be a Jeremy Corbyn prime minister in Great Britain. No way. Pro-Israel. They'll never forgive him in Northern Ireland. He's pro-Brexit. It's not happening. Forget it. It's not happening. MI6 has got a file on him. MI5 and MI6 have got a file on him so deep it'll never happen. They've been scared shitless of him ever coming to power. They wouldn't be running regular hit pieces on him. So if Brexit were to succeed, wouldn't the EU technocrats make sure to punish them and make an example out of them? What, this isn't punishment enough? They already announced that that the whole Brexit process was going to be horrible. And that was the whole point. And they've made it as horrible as possible. Yeah, Corbyn voted to leave the EU. He hates the EU. He just doesn't want a hard Brexit. Or at least that's what he says. But he can't say that he wants a hard Brexit because his party doesn't want it. So he would lose the confidence of his party if he came out for a position that a majority of his party doesn't want. Corbyn's not Remain. May is more of a Remainer than Corbyn is. That's the irony of all of this. So is May's cabinet. And that's why this is interesting. That's why you can start to play this out in your mind. I could try to go through it all. But the truth is that there's so many competing agendas that it's all just one big shit show, right? You've got the Tory Remainers in the cabinet who have all the political pull, who don't want to leave the EU. You've got the Brexiteers who have an active parliament on their side. You've got the Labour Remainers who are in Leave district, who are representing Leave districts, who are now beginning to realize that they're not going to be able to put a lipstick on this pig and then go back and sell it in the general election. If you think this through, if they push for a second referendum, which I think is very doubtful, it's what the EU and the establishment want. They keep wanting to try and push for a second. Well, let's just vote again. No, let's not vote again. We already voted. Go look at the opinion polls in the latest Comres polls out of the UK, and it's very obvious that the people don't want a second referendum. They want the original referendum respected, and most of them don't think that anybody in power has three working brain cells together to rub together to make a spark. So, yes, but Semejus, on the other side of it, Europe needs the city of London. So, far more, and by the way, far more valuable. Trump should wear a yellow vest at the State of the Union. It would be awesome. What he pulled on Pelosi yesterday was that was the highlight of his presidency. If he does nothing else, I'm like, okay, you win. I mean, good. No, Farage should wear a yellow vest when next time he goes on Sky News. He should do a Litterbox Cats the Nigel Farage show in a yellow vest. If he was smart, he would. So this is going to get ugly. I mean, it's going to be funny between now and March 29th, but the truth of the matter is that every day that this goes on, every day that they try to put up some new roadblock, some new legislative or procedural roadblock in front of Brexit, every day they do that is another day wasted. It's another day wasted. Yeah, well, Garland Nixon does work. He wears a yellow vest on fault lines. It's really funny. I was on this morning with those guys. We had a blast. So, yeah, I mean, I just find it fascinating, right? So, I don't know. You know, every day we get closer, and every day is like, what are you going to pull out of your back pocket next? All of this, to me, looks like theater. It looks to me like it's nothing more than the dying... like the death throes of a strategy that has failed. They're now improvising. It's broken field running at this point. They thought they had this thing all lined up, and all they had to do was like march the thing over the goal line and take and bring it home. And then they fumbled the snap, and everybody's scrambling around, and it looks like the end of the longest yard. Except that it's not going to be a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, I'm at that point when I think about this. It just looks to me like everybody who's trying to stop Brexit is now just like throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, and nothing's sticking. Because guess what? There's a hard stop on March 29th. They leave the European Union. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think Brexit's going to happen. I'm surprised. I'm shocked. I mean, I'm as shocked as anybody. I thought that they had this thing done. I don't think the yellow vests are losing steam at all. I think they're not talking about them. Have you seen Craig Murray's take on a 3-option second referendum he is hearing from cabinet sources? No, I haven't heard that. The cabinet, and the cabinet is exactly the people that I'm talking about. They're being marginalized by Theresa May refusing to negotiate with everybody. She is basically saying, yeah, hey, let's hold talks. And then she doesn't negotiate with it. And then she pulls an EU and says, fine, y'all are talking, but I'm not listening. So so you guys did a really nice rendition of the Swedish national anthem. Can we get back with Brexit, please? I mean, I can't, for the life of me, believe I'm thinking that Theresa May, of all people, could be the one that actually saves Brexit. Because she's in the moment, she's in the position now to just run the clock out on everybody and watch them all twist in the wind. Pretty impressive, actually. But if you read the political winds properly, it's what it looks like. It's what it looks like is happening. You know what I mean? That ultimately, it looks to me like May thought she had a deal. She thought she had a plan. She and the European Union were going to go to town with that. She figured that they would probably give her some kind of concession to let it go through Parliament at some point, and they said no. And then they forced her into the embarrassing situation of having to bring that thing to the floor, have it be voted down in historic proportions, and then have to survive another no confidence vote while they continue to heckle and cackle. Like, no, you have an opportunity at this point to just say, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to leave. That's it. Just going to leave. It's all over. You know, in the weeks running up to Brexit, the vote, that is, back in 2016, we all sat here and we all talked. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was talking with people left and right during 2016 about this. And, you know, remember, I was working for Newsmax at the time, so this was a big deal. We were chatting amongst ourselves and my editor and at the time and all of my friends and all of this stuff. And we talked about this. And we said, there's no way Brexit is actually ever going to go through. I think the polls are tighter than they say they are. I think the polls that they're giving us are bullshit. And I said all this then. You know, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics, and then British polling, right? But, you know, I never thought that I would never thought they would get past the vote fraud. I just never thought in a million years it would happen. And just never thought it would happen. And then the votes came in, and it was like, I just sat there all night watching the election returns, cackling with a friend of mine on Skype. It's like, I mean, we did. I mean, it was. I think I laughed harder during Brexit than I did than I did the night Trump won. I'll be honest with you, because I really never expected Brexit to happen. I expected it to peter out and the whole thing to fall apart, because the EU always seems to pull some shenanigans that they're able to get away with it. Here's the funny part. Now that, you know, 2 years later, we're looking at the similar situation. We're all sitting here doom and glooming and going, how in the hell could this possibly? How in the hell could they pull this out? They're going to pull something. They always do. And we're all so freaking beaten down and think that they're so damn all powerful. Well, at the end of the day, they're just a bunch of incompetent freaking retards. Pardon that, but they really are incompetent people running these shows. Donald Tusk, I mean, I was watching Mercouris or Alex and Alex on the Duran the other day, and he was going and you know, Alex Christoforo asked Mercouris to just kind of go down the whole cast list of people who were involved in Brexit, and he's going through, you know, Theresa May and Amber Rudd, Boris Johnson, and this one and that one, all these people, and he's like, you know, the reason why you don't remember any of their names? He's like, no, why? So none of them are terribly impressive people. And that's the point. Neither is Juncker. Neither is Merkel. Neither is Tusk. Neither is Michael Barnier. None of them are impressive people. They're all participatory medal winners. It's like the whole thing is being run by a committee of participatory medal winners. That's it. That's what we got. Bunch of childless participatory medal winners. Everyone gets a medal. Thank you for showing up. Do your job, and we'll give you a pat on the head and a cookie. Now go back to bed. No, we need you to stand up here and say something fucking stupid. Okay, we'll do that. And that's what we got. You got a bunch of friggin' sock puppets up there mouthing the words of oligarchs with no real convictions other than maybe Merkel. But when they really think about their position, when they're backed into a corner and when they're humiliated and they have nothing left, it's amazing what you get at. What's amazing, the performance you get out of people when you actually think about it's amazing what happens, what you get out of people when you back them into a corner, when you not only beat them, but then laugh at them and humiliate them and beat them down further and tell them, not only are we going to take your life away from you, but we're going to kill your family and your dog as well, which is basically the way Pelosi is treating Trump. She's acting like Mueller's got him dead to rights on all this stupid shit and all this, and on the shutdown and all of this stuff, and that at the end of the day they were like ringing they were circling the friggin' wagon train, and they were about to take, and they're really acting like they had him dead to rights. The same thing with Theresa May. We've got this taken care of. It's in the bag. She's screwed. She's got no political future. As RB Tool says, she's a political zombie, which I don't think she is anymore. And then all of a sudden, when a man's got nothing to lose, he could throw caution to the wind and just start going after everybody. Bingo! Welcome to Brexit. And I think that's part of what may be happening here, is that May's finally realized that there's nothing left. There's no reason for her to try and do anything other than do what she was told, what she was, voted to do, voted into office to do. And if she's got recalcitrant people and traitors within her cabinet, well, let them walk. They want to walk. Let them resign. You notice how Amber Rudd's not resigning. Notice how none of them are talking about how are we going to get an act of parliament together in order to extend or cancel Article 50. You know why? Because they know they can't. They're all talking about how long it'll take to get a new referendum together. Dude, you got a bigger problem. An act of parliament goes into effect on the 29th of March, and they start trading under WTO rules. Period. It's done. It's over. No do-overs. No gimmies. No mulligans. Do not pass go. Outpass by me. Whatever. I don't give a shit. 90% of an MP's job is to bray like a donkey on the Commons. You can see where Orwell got the basis for Animal Fire. I swear that Liam Fox shouts, 2 legs bad! That's freaking funny right there, dude. Seriously. Brexit and Trump both hit their respective high points and low points in relative simultaneity. Mueller's office said that BuzzFeed statements and testimony is not accurate. You mean about Cohen? BuzzFeed protests and asks for specifics. Dude, how out of control is BuzzFeed that they think that they deserve to get specifics from Robert Mueller about an ongoing investigation and what a witness said? So we want clarification on the leaks of information that we weren't supposed to get in the first fucking place. It's almost as bad as Pelosi and Schumer, threatening Donald Trump for doing his job. Oh, you can't do that. That's your job. Like, yeah, and? I don't discount EU goons, Alex Grant. I really don't. I just think that we're at that point where there's not that much left that they can actually do. They've threatened the UK with everything. They don't really have a lot of ammunition left. They don't have any real sway over British internal politics. They don't set the budget for them. They don't own their currency. What are they going to do? Germany needs Britain a fuckload more than Britain needs Germany at this point. And that's the thing that everybody wants to forget. The Germans are freaking out about losing the British car market. Freaking right the fuck out. Everything is falling hard, Dragon M. So when you have an ambassadors like Nikki Haley, who's a dingbat, and Herbert Neuert, who's an airhead, you know the empire is failing hard. Well, yeah, both sides of the pond. When you have a cabinet as singularly unimpressive as the one in the UK, and a prime minister as I don't even know what to describe Theresa May. Pelosi was not going to Afghanistan or Brussels or wherever else she was going to go see the troops. She was going to those places to coordinate about Brexit and whatever was happening at Davos. It was happening the same week as Davos, by the way, and to conspire against Trump. That's what she was going. That's why she was leaving the country. She was going to continue to pick up dirt and work on ways to get Trump. That's what she was working on. And to shore up the international, to shore up the relationship with probably the EU and some other people to say, look, we've got Trump dead to rights. He's going to be leaving. He's going to be leaving office real soon now. And this is what's going to happen. And this is how we're going to get him and yada, yada, yada. And Trump said, well, fine. If you're going to do that, do it on your own fucking dime. Because you're not doing it on the taxpayers' dime. If you're going to stage a coup against a sitting president, please stop using the taxpayers' dime for it. And, pulled that off and with, well, of course, Nancy Pelosi doesn't open her mouth except to fucking lie. Woman is incapable of actually telling the truth. She's just a virtue signaling twat. Yes, the City of London is pro-EU. The rest of the England is pretty much not. And the London elites are disconnected. Yeah, and this is what we have. It's exactly the same thing we have here in the United States. These people that stab our legislatures have no interest in what the rest of us want. They have no idea. Most of the Labour MPs don't want to lose their perks that go along with being a member of the European Union. That's what they're voting for. That's what they're arguing for. They have to realize at this point that if they try to delay Brexit or if they try to go for a second referendum, that they will no longer have jobs. That after May's government falls, that they will get voted out of office. May take a couple of years. May take maybe not in the first general election, but certainly in the next one. They are going to lose their jobs. People have a long memory. You think Pelosi does drugs? I think she's a stroke victim. I think she's had multiple TIAs, and I think that the woman is not there half the time. I honestly think that more often than not, she's saying things where she thinks she's in a different freaking room, in a different time, in a different place. Davos is going to look like is going to be really light on content this year, since not one major American official will actually be there because Trump told them all to stay home. Joanne, just looking at the places that Pelosi was going, it was very obvious that she was working on She was working on either shoring up support for I think she was just shoring up support for local field commanders in Afghanistan, obviously, where peace talks have been going on and off with the Taliban, and then going to Brussels to discuss with the EU what they're going to do after Trump has been removed from office, because they really do act like they have Trump dead to rights. It's why she's acting this way. She has put all of her political eggs in this shutdown basket. Pelosi doesn't make moves like that unless she knows unless she knows the fix is in, because she's actually really bad at her job. She just only ever bets when she knows the other guy's hole cards. So I think she thinks she's got hole cards at this point that are. She thinks she knows Trump's hole cards because Mueller told her so. She's virtue signaled this. Now the question is whether or not Trump goes along with it or not. I don't think Trump goes along with it. In the same way that I don't think Theresa May goes along with what everybody else has told May to go along with, which is that you're going to lose a no confidence vote and you should step down and you shouldn't be around. Everybody's trying to get rid of Theresa May. When everybody's trying to get rid of Theresa May, there's a reason why Theresa May it may be a good idea that you want Theresa May to stick around. Not because Theresa May is competent or anything, but maybe it's because she's the only one at this point actually working towards Brexit, and everybody else is trying to snuff it. Yes, I heard as well that Ruth Bader Ginsburg has pneumonia. Yeah, and she won't leave, and she won't retire. Woman's 87 years old. She just had half her lung removed. Of course she's going to get pneumonia after that. She's immune system compromised from the surgery and yada, yada, yada. Of course she's going to get pneumonia after that. She will not. She's such a friggin' ideologue. She won't leave office. Nothing you can do about it. I mean, that's how sad these people are. Oh, of course, I think, Joanne, I think you're right that Trump knew about the Pelosi trip and he didn't wait until he waited till the last minute on purpose. He waited till they were all in the van and on their way to the plane, and then humiliated her and sent her home. So, one of the most beautiful pieces of political fuckery I've ever seen. Truly a brilliant move on his part, because it hits Pelosi exactly where she lives, which is in her hypocrisy. I mean, the woman has no shame or anything, so it's not like, I mean, she's as Alinsky, she's as Alinsky proof as Trump is. I mean, the birds of a feather. They're both exceedingly malignant narcissists in their own way. So it's not like you can get her in make her feel shame for any of this. All you can do is you can humiliate her, though. You can make her look weak, and that's far more impressive. That's what you have to do. You have to put Pelosi on her back foot. She's very skilled at getting out of it, but to this point, again, if you push Trump to the point where he has nothing left, well, then he's going to start pulling shit like this, and it's going to get really ugly for them quick. Really ugly quick. That woman does not open her mouth. If she's not lying, she ain't talking. How do we know you're lying, man? How do you know I'm lying? Because you open your mouth and words come out. Yeah, she's very sharp politically. The problem is that she's trying to make arguments that are patently silly. They've shut down the government longer than it takes for over a $5.7 billion wall. And in that time, we've paid out nearly $22 billion in debt interest and interest on the national debt. Okay? The wall will cost less than the interest on the national debt will for a week. What are you guys bitching about? So you have to play the wall as a moral card? The only people who believe that shit is Pelosi's base in the first place. No one else believes this crap. No one else even gives a shit. Trump wants his wall, give him his wall. I mean, everybody's kind of looking at them going, what the fuck are you doing? And it's the same thing with Brexit. What are you guys doing? We want you to leave. Well, we can't leave. It'll be terrible. Well, we want you to leave. If you guys can't come to an arrangement, we're okay with it. Go thou forth and deliver on your fucking promise. Assholes. Ooh, we can't do that. Well, then you're bluffing about how horrible it'll be. When people only give you one choice, they're fucking lying. There's always other options. I missed his comment earlier. Farm focus. So Dragon M's question was, what do you think of the U.S. throwing their allies in the EU under the bus over the Rusal sanctions? Complete idiocy. I don't know what it is that you're actually talking about. What happened? What happened there? Did we lift aluminum sanctions? Not that I heard of, but I haven't checked the news in the last couple of hours. So sorry, I had dinner and played a game with my family. Did we end sanctions on Russia and leave the EU twisting in the wind? Yeah, this is a battle of will. So while I wait for an answer on that, because I don't know the Joanne's comment. The Dems now are painted in such a corner, pretend to be the party of the people, but they're really the party of big donors. Hard to spin that impromptu. Even Obama can't do it now. Obama's good, but he's not good. No, they're painted into a corner on this insane issue where they now, I wrote an article today about Pelosi. She's fiddling while the Democrats burn behind her. She's got insurrections left and right. They've embraced no banking reform, corporatism, the status quo, and wars. No wonder there's a socialist revolt within the Democratic Party. No wonder Tulsi Gabbard is running for president. And they're all freaking out about her running for president. She's a nobody from Hawaii. The EU SPV hasn't come together. They haven't been able to set it up. They won't get any banks to sign on to it, to do business with it. Oh, 8 EU ambassadors asked for the sanctions to be lifted to save 75,000 jobs in the U.S. and Congress ignored them. Of course, Congress ignored them. So what do I feel? How do I feel about that? Par for the course. That's what CATS is for. It's what Magnitsky Act is for. We're not making any friends here. We're forcing the EU into even more. We're forcing the EU to make even crazier, to make decisions to leave the United States behind and eventually lift the sanctions on their own. They shouldn't be asking us for sanctions relief anyway. To be honest with you, they should just not go along with them. But we keep throwing our weight around to the point of, of them having to ask us for permission. It's crazy. How can you be the leaders of the free world or whatever? How can you be so unbelievably important that you can subjugate the rest of Europe, but you still take your marching orders from Washington? It's not smart. Not good. The hit jobs on Gabbard will always continue. She has to stay the course and be strong. Pelosi will pull every dirty trick out of the book against her. It's what will happen because nothing unites Washington quicker than the threat of peace breaking out into the public narrative. Yeah, they are losing market share to the Chinese. And the downstream, this is very normal. I know. And Rusal will just trade with Chinese producers and then who will then resell and ship overseas. Yeah, I know. And remember that little, 15% devaluation of the yuan last year to reset the currency arbitrage? While the EU spends all of their time trying desperately to keep the euro from falling into the gutter. Right? How long have they been holding this area between $1.15 and $1.13, trying to establish a new trading range? There's a reason for that. they can't have the euro drop. If they have the euro drop, then people will start exiting their bond character, their cross currency interest rate carry trades, because those trades will become unprofitable. And the minute those carry trades start to unwind, then things get out of control quickly. So there's all of this kind of status quo with the European Union and the euro. It's all stage managed metastable bullshit, while everybody kind of waits to see what happens with Brexit. You know, we've got shit coming next week where, you know, Theresa May has to present a new deal on what, Monday? So Gabbard should never apologize, but she's too much of a lib not to. She should stay the course on foreign policy. She should ignore all the rest of the stuff and go out there and hammer the Democrats on their record as far as Syria is concerned. That's what she should do. I don't know that she's going to have a huge impact in the race next year, but she's certainly going to get her feet wet, and she'll learn a lot. But she has an opportunity to really act as a stalking horse for Trump if she's smart and if she raises enough money. And if she can catch any kind of populist fire, she will. And she should spend that money wisely and have it last as long as possible in order to help Trump fight off the war party within the GOP, is what she should do. And then Trump should reward that with either an ambassadorship, Secretary of Defense, or appointment to the National Security Council or something along those lines, is what he should do. He should do that tactically to reach across party lines and say, we have bigger problems than this, and war has bipartisan support here on Capitol Hill, and I need help from a prominent Democrat. Yeah. You never apologize. You wonder if a majority of people quietly relish homophobic rants. Like, you know, shit happens. She was in the Army for Christ. She was what? Was Army? Air Force? She's a veteran, right? Got news for you. She said bad things about gay people while she was in the military. So that's where I think Tulsi Gabbard is interesting. Okay. I think she has value from that perspective, from a foreign policy perspective, and nothing else. So no, she was National Guard. All right, never mind. I think Secretary of State would be a bit much. I think it would be way above her pay grade. I think it would be funny as shit if he nominated her for Secretary of Defense. At the very least, even for, you know, any other cabinet position or ambassadorship. I think that would be great. But he's not going to. Not until he finally 86s all of the Sheldon Adelson influence in his White House. And that's going to take at least another 6 months to get rid of. I don't see that. You know, if he wins this round with Pelosi, if he's able to win on the Syria pullout in the end, if he's able to get all that stuff done over the course of the next 3 or 4 months, then you might be able to see something. You might be able to see something interesting happen from that perspective. No, I'm serious. At this point, people have to start reaching across party lines. We want our politicians. We want them to stop acting like a bunch of hardcore political douchebags. We want them to start acting in our interest and not in their own. We want them to stop playing politics and start putting people before party and everything else. And if anyone can or should do that at this point, and to save his skin and to set himself up for a 2020 run, it's Trump. He has the opportunity to do this. I don't know that. I know he has the media savvy. I know he has that savvy. I don't know that he has the political skill for it. Dude, everybody in Washington is more qualified as Secretary of State than Mike Pompeo at this point. And yeah, I agree with you, Stoyanovich. The minute he does anything pro-Trump and her career in Congress is over. Maybe. So, I don't know. What else you guys got? I'm about talked out, actually. I know it's a little short tonight, but I'm just not, like, I don't know, not really feeling it. I'll be honest with you, fistfights in, if they settled all their political debates in Washington with fistfights, it'd be far more interesting. At least eventually they get it all done. They just get the shit out in the open, done, and then they can go, back and get stuff, go out for beers and actually, go back to work and get something done. It would be nice. But I don't know. All right. Gabbard should run with Jesse Ventura. I think the Jesse Ventura ship has sailed. I don't see that being politically viable anymore. Not at all. Just saying. But as far as everything else is concerned, Syria looks like it's just kind of petering out. I think eventually the Russians will continue to put the hammerlock down on Ankara, on Turkey. Trump keeps changing the rules over in Syria on the basis of the pullout, trying to come up with ways to get Turkey back on his side. It's not going to work. Your fear for 2020 is a third-party spoiler. It's very possible. But I don't see anything organized at this point. I think all the third parties in this country are pretty beaten down. They've been effectively neutralized. I know for a fact that the libertarians are. Now Gabbard and Rand Paul as a third-party ticket, that'd be good. But Rand Paul is going to be committed to Trump to work with Trump within the GOP. It's the smartest play. It's absolutely the smartest play at this point. So, is Trump, I did not talk about this. Is Trump going to declare a state of emergency on the southern border tomorrow? It's possible. I did not talk about it. It's possible. But yeah, he's got a big announcement coming tomorrow afternoon. I hope he does so, honestly. I mean, why not? There comes a point where you have to call these people's bluff and you have to start acting like the president. You can't let them set the agenda for you. You can't let them tell you how to do your job. Well, you don't really have the authority to issue a travel ban. Yeah, I do. You don't really have the authority to do. Yeah, I do. You don't really have the authority to keep me from getting on a plane and going to Brussels. Yeah, I kind of do. I'm commander-in-chief. Don't fly the bitch. Yes, sir. Right? All right. So, yeah, I was never in the army. No, you're supposed to, hide the thumb. I know. Whatever. So, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Trump has the opportunity here. No matter what he does, they're going to claim that he's playing politics. So, ignore them. And just do what you're going to do. You don't need their approval. Just go do it. Let them bitch about it later. Let them twist in the wind. The same way that Obama let the Republicans twist in the wind. Pelosi's just playing fucking politics, so shove it in her face. Ram it down her throat. Let her twist on it. That's what I would think. That's what I would do. I wouldn't put up with Nancy Pelosi's shit for 4 minutes. I'm sorry. Be like, no. Well, you can't. Yeah, no. Yeah, we're doing that. Get me the legal justification. We're doing it. Okay, great. We can do that by executive order. Fuck you. Done. Oh, by the way, I just disbanded the Department of Education. You can't do that. Yes, I did. I don't have a Secretary of Education because there's no department anymore. All those people got furloughed. Fuck off. Don't tempt me. We appropriated the money and I'm refusing to spend it. Your move. Pointing out the hypocrisy is a great strat. It's a great strategy. So what he did yesterday was brilliant. More of that, Don. They're going to, not only are they going to take you out, they're going to crush you into the ground and stamp on your nuts and destroy your children's lives as well. That's what they will do. Don't negotiate with them. Theresa May just learned this lesson. I think she's finally figured out that's how it's going to end. Tear it all down. Do the job we told you to do. Stop playing nice with these people. Don't just issue orders and then and then ignore the bureaucracy when the bureaucracy ignores you. You order the friggin' FISA documents, unredacted FISA documents released. Get on that shit. The bureaucrats refuse to respond. Send somebody in there with fucking guns and get the fucking bureaucrat to do his job. That's your job. I don't like the idea of him using guns to do this shit, but that's your job. Do it. You need to scare these people. They all think they live in a bomb-proof. They all have bomb-proof armor and they don't have to do anything and they can just slow roll everything. Oh yeah, well we'll get that to you in, I don't know, 40 or 400 or 500 weeks or whatever. No, fuck you. I want it on my desk by Friday. We can't do that. Yeah, you can, or you're fired. No, Reagan didn't learn shit, Rocket Man. He got worse as he went along. Reagan's best years were 81 and 82. After that, everything was a shit show. I lived through it. I know for a fact you're 25. I know you didn't live through it. The yellow vest did change the Brexit picture. Absolutely. May is now worried about a popular revolt against the British government if Brexit doesn't go through. It's in her back pocket. That's what's in the back of her mind. That's why I think the political calculus for her has most likely changed in our favor. But she can't say anything because if she does, it will spark a massive revolt politically at the political level. I would love for Trump to just do the State of the Union from the Oval Office. Yeah, on Periscope. Do the thing. So Nancy didn't invite me to Congress for the State of the Union address. So I'm going to do it here. I've got my talking points. I've got my speech. I just thought we'd sit down and have a chat. What do you think? Well, you want to do that? And then Periscope, super hearts, the whole 9 yards. Do it. Force ABC to cover that shit. It'd be great. Oh no, by the way, Pelosi, yeah, you're under a travel ban. I've issued a travel ban for Congress. They're not allowed to leave the city until the shutdown is resolved. National security issue. You people are now under house arrest. You people are effectively now under house arrest. Dude, I'm the biggest libertarian in the world, but you give me the power of the emperor and I'm going to use it. Now, super hearts, chat, and the whole thing is simulcasted on YouTube. Super hearts for the wall, super chats for the wall, the whole nine. That'd be great, right? Just just set it up on YouTube. Super chats for the wall tonight, guys, and just watch the $5 donations come in to Trump's YouTube account all night long for the wall. I mean, tax deductible super chats. Executive order. Come on. It would set them on fucking fire is what it would do. It would drive them absolutely apeshit. Rachel Maddow's Adam's apple would be all quiver. It would be great. It would be fantastic. It would be awesome. Whatever happened to Rachel? Did she get did she actually go through the sex change operation? Because I always swore she was a man anyway. All right, that's enough. I'm out. I start making Rachel Maddow jokes, we're done. All right. You guys be good. You have a good weekend. I'm not sure I even have an exit out of that one. Keep your stick on the ice, guys.